Me get my slideshow. Can everyone see the slide?
Yep, you're good.
Hold on here. I'm sorry. I have 3 screens, so sometimes I'm doing screen sharing. It's all there. We go. Okay. So thank you everyone for having me. I am with the State Historical Society of Missouri. Today, I'm just going to provide everyone with an overview of the State Historical Society of Missouri, including some highlights from our collections, as well as some helpful tips for helpful tools for researching our collections. So, the State Historical Society of Missouri was founded in 1898 by the Missouri Press Association in Columbia, Missouri, and became a trustee of the state of Missouri a year later. Originally, our mission was to collect and preserve Missouri newspapers. Since that time, we have expanded our focus to include the collection and preservation of manuscripts, photographs, oral histories, maps, and artwork relating to the history and culture of this state. In 2011, the State Historical Society of Missouri merged with the Western Historical Manuscript Collection. So we now have 6 research centers across the state, all on university campuses. Our flagship location, the Center for Missouri Studies, is located in Columbia, Missouri. Now, a common misconception about the State Historical Society of Missouri is that we are affiliated with the Missouri Historical Society, which is located on Skinker in St. Louis. Now, although our mission and our missions are somewhat similar, the Missouri Historical Society focuses on St. Louis history and receives funding from the city of St. Louis. The State Historical Society focuses statewide, and we receive funding from the state of Missouri. So, the St. Louis Research Center, where I work at, was established in 1968 as part of the Western Historical Manuscript Collection. Some of our early donations included the Young Women's Christian Association of St. Louis and the Rotary Club of St. Louis. In 2011, as I mentioned before, the State Historical Society absorbed the St. Louis Research Center. We have recently revitalized the center, so we have new furniture, we've done some collection rehousing, and of course, new staff, including me. So if you visit us in the past, I encourage you to revisit us. And a brief side note on the hours I have up on the slide. Those are pre-pandemic hours. We are now, we're still open Tuesdays through Fridays, but now our hours are from 12 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. and it's by appointment. Now, hopefully when this all ends, we can go back to our normal hours and not having to require appointments. But because of COVID-19, we have to really be careful about how many people we have at a time at the research center, just to make sure everyone's safe. So each of our research centers has a specific collecting area. So at my research center, I focus on St. Louis City and County, Jefferson, Franklin, Warren, St. Charles, Lincoln, and Pike counties. The St. Louis Research Center currently manages about 7,748 cubic feet, roughly, of collections. Now, only a fraction of our collections are able to be stored on site. We store the bulk of them off site at our record center in Columbia, Missouri. So our subject strengths at the St. Louis Research Center include women's and gender studies, African American history, the labor movement, environmental studies, and social reform and welfare, and social and fraternal organizations. So some of our collection highlights include the Marlon Perkins papers. He was the former director of the St. Louis Zoo and the former host of Wild Kingdom. For some of my younger students who come in, I just tell them that he was basically his generation Steve Irwin, only decaffeinated. And we also have the New Life Evangelistic Center records. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Larry Rice of channel 24 and 25. So I recently got his records in. It's currently about 57 cubic feet. And actually, Reverend Rice interviewed me on his television program, Here's Help, last Friday. So we're still actively collecting from his organization. And so if you decide that you want to look at some of our collections, we recommend that you contact us and set up an appointment prior to visiting us. As I mentioned before, our on-site storage is small. We store a substantial amount of our collections off-site at our record center in Columbia. So we have to courier a lot of those materials in. Pre-pandemic, it took about a week, maybe even less. Of course, now during the pandemic, everything is slowed down. So it could take anywhere to 2 to 3 weeks now to get those materials in. So it always helps if you notify me in advance of what you want to look at. So upon arriving at the St. Louis Research Center, you'll be asked to present a photo ID as well as read and sign a rules of consent form to access the collections. So I'm going to go over some of our collections that we have statewide at the State Historical Society of Missouri. First up is our reference collection. So this collection is mostly housed at the Center for Missouri Studies in Columbia, Missouri. However, we are able to transfer books from the Center of Missouri Studies to the St. Louis Research Center, as well as our other research centers. You can find these reference materials through the Merlin Catalog, which is a shared library book catalog across all University of Missouri system libraries. Now, one of the Society's crown jewels from the reference collection is the Christian Bay collection of Middle Western Americana. The collection is comprised of rare books on the history of the West, such as John H. Audubon's Birds of America, and the Biddle edition of the Lewis and Clark Journals, which was the first published history of the expedition. Now, one of the lesser known collections is the Society's college periodicals collection, which features catalogs, bulletins, yearbooks, announcements, and other publications, mainly from academies, colleges, and universities in Missouri that no longer exist. These are useful for learning about the history of education in Missouri and for verifying whether or not an ancestor may have attended a certain academic institution. Now, unfortunately, we do not have periodicals from every educational institution in Missouri. So you'll need to check with our reference staff to verify if the Society has information on a specific institution. So next is our newspaper collection. So as I mentioned before, the Missouri Press Association founded the State Historical Society of Missouri in 1898. We have stuck to our roots since then and maintain the largest newspaper repository in the state. Now, the collection is mostly on microfilm, but we also have bound volumes and single issue print copies. The collection also includes agricultural, German language, labor, religious, and temperance newspapers, in addition to general interest titles. Now, one of my favorite aspects of this collection is the social media element. So once again, while I'm talking to maybe younger students, I inform them that newspapers were one way people gossiped before there was Facebook. So they're always a useful tool when researching your ancestors. And the index to the newspaper collection is available online. So if you find a title that interests you, you can request to have the microfilm sent to any of our 6 research centers, or request to view them off-site through interlibrary loan. Next is our photograph collection. Our photograph collection is one of our most popular collections. It includes images from the 19th century to the present, and covers areas across the state of Missouri, as well as images of Missourians throughout the United States and abroad. Now, in addition to prints, the collection also holds a variety of photographic formats, such as daguerreotypes, tintypes, and 35mm slides. Scrapbooks, albums, postcards, and other graphic materials are often included in the photographic collections. Now, in St. Louis, we have several large collections of photographs that were donated to us by journalists and professional photographers. One of them is the Arthur Whitman collection, which is an incredible resource on the history of St. Louis. Now, as you can see here on the slide, One of the photographs here is from the Arthur Whitman collection, and it documents the construction of the Gateway Arch in 1965. Now, Whitman, who was a employee of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, was the only professional photographer who documented the construction of the Gateway Arch from beginning to finish. And as you can see here in this photograph, Mr. Whitman was also a very brave individual since he was at the very top of the arch. I don't know if I will be that dedicated to my job to go to those heights every day, but we're glad he did. We're glad he did. So the photographs are available to researchers in the Research Center and are frequently reproduced in books and other publications about Missouri history. As you can see here, and of course, several of our collections can also be accessed online through our website. We have tens of thousands of photographs digitized and available to view and download online. Now, here are a few of our photographs I pulled from our collections that may be of interest to you. So in the upper left-hand corner is an image of school children at the Daniel Boone home in New Melle, Missouri in 1924. Now, in the top right-hand corner is an image of the 1942 World Series, the St. Louis Cardinals versus the New York Yankees. And the bottom three images are victory celebrations over Japan and the end of World War II, all taken in downtown St. Louis. Now, next up is our photograph collection. So SHS has about over 2,000 historical maps of Missouri. The types of maps we collect include state highway, county, city, and topographical maps. We also have several Sanborn maps, which are particularly interesting for historic preservation applications because they provide detailed layouts of building interiors. Now, our next up is our manuscript collections. So along with newspapers, maps, and photographs, we also collect manuscripts. We typically collect two types of manuscripts. One are organizational records, which include businesses, civic and social organizations, government agencies, and churches. And then personal and family papers, which can usually consist of correspondence, diaries, scrapbooks, photographs, writings, and audiovisual materials. And now, since most information is being created digitally, we also collect what's called born digital records, meaning materials are created solely on computers, such as Word docs, PDFs, email, Excel documents, PowerPoint presentations, things of that nature we're also collecting too. So for example, I recently took in the Missouri, another edition of the Missouri Humanities Council records. We've been working at them since the 1980s. So I took in about 50 gigabytes of their born digital collection. So they're now that since like 2000, they've been creating all their meeting minutes and such, obviously in digital format. So I just finished processing and preserving those born digital records. And as we progress more and more into the 21st century, more of that will all be, I'll be doing more of that just in that digital environment. So SHS currently has about 4,000 processed manuscript collections and approximately 900 unprocessed collections measuring more than 45,000 cubic feet. So, and here are some few items of some of our manuscript collections. The first image is a drawing by Standing Bear for Black Elk Speaks from the John G. Nehart papers from the Columbia Research Center. And in the lower left-hand corner, we have a map drawn by William Clark in his notebook on the second journey to New Orleans from a starting point in Ohio from March 9th to June 16th, 1798. Now, a brief aside, the Society purchased the notebook and 4 other Lewis and Clark items in 1928 for $1.20 each. You heard that right, $1.20 each. That's how much this cost. They were among an extensive collection of Missouriana purchased by the Society from the heirs of William Clark Breckinridge, no relation to William Clark. And even in 1928, I believe that was quite the deal. So I doubt you could get anything from Lewis and Clark original materials for that price today. And lastly, we have a letter written by Bennett Clark to his father, Champ Clark, discussing officer training school in San Antonio, written on February 3rd, 1918. Now, Champ Clark was a longtime resident of Bowling Green, Missouri, and was a politician in the Democratic Party. He served as a representative of Missouri from 1893 to 1895, and again from 1897 to 1921. Now, from 1911 to 1919, he served as the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives. Now, his son, Bennett Clark, served as a colonel during this World War I and was a Missouri State Senator from 1933 to 1945. So the Society also has an oral history collection, which spans all 6 research centers and covers a wide variety of topics and subjects, encompassing the vast diversity of Missouri culture and heritage. So the majority of the collection has been donated over the last several decades by outside individuals and groups, such as teachers, professionals, professors, students, and civic organizations. The Society has had a full-time oral historian since the mid-1990s. Now, currently, the Society's primary focus is collecting environmental, rural education, and veterans' oral histories. Now, the large Politics in Missouri Oral History Project is the only oral history collection at the moment to have all of the transcripts online and roughly 60 full audio interviews available to download as MP3s. And we also have, and SHS also has an extensive art collection with nearly 12,000 works of art featuring work by George Caleb Bingham, Thomas Hart Benton, and other Missouri-related artists. So on this slide, you will see George Caleb Bingham's Order Number 11. Now, what you see here does not do the actual painting justice. It is a massive and gorgeous painting depicting the Union Army directive issued during the Civil War on August 25th, 1863, forcing the evacuation of rural areas in 4 counties in western Missouri. Now, residents who could prove their loyalty to the Union were permitted to stay in the affected area, but had to leave their farms and move to communities near military outposts. Those who could not do so had to vacate the area altogether. And here are some examples of paintings from our art collection, including a painting in the lower left-hand corner from Thomas Hart Benton's Year of Peril series. And once again, none of these actually do that you see in this slide do actual justice to the actual works of art. Luckily, our art gallery is still open. So if you get a chance, and if you're ever in Columbia, I suggest visiting the gallery. They have a lot of amazing works of art. Now, next up is our digital collections. So one of the highlights of our digital collections are digitized copies of the Missouri Historical Review, which the State Historical Society has published quarterly since 1906. Issues from 1906 to about 2019 are available online. It's an award-winning journal and a great resource for Missouri history. Now, in the past few years, the State Historical Society has also undergone several digitization projects, including the Civil War, World War I, and World War II manuscript collections. So now we've gone over a lot of different materials in a lot of varying formats. But what if you just have a subject area that you want to research? Well, luckily, the State Historical Society has created subject guides for that purpose. So for example, let's say you're interested in studying World War II. Well, you can visit our World War II subject guide, which includes a brief overview of the topic and a list of World War II related collections from all of our research centers. And here is a list of our subject areas for which we have guides. So as you can see here, we cover most aspects of Missouri history, from religion to military, to the African-American experience, science, technology, and medicine. We basically cover a lot, so we will have something that hopefully have something that you're interested in. And so here's our website. So the last part of my presentation will practice locating collections and research guides by navigating the website. Now our main page, you'll see our upcoming events. So keep an eye out for conferences and workshops. We have a lot of online virtual workshops that are free to the public that cover topics from doing your own genealogy to preserving your own born digital archives. So keep a lookout for the schedule on that. We are also the state coordinator for National History Day, which is essentially a science fair for history nerds. So you'll see History Day events and information posted here as well. So if you're trying to do historical research, what you'll first want to do is go to our research tab, which I have highlighted up here, and click on the category of collection that you would like to search. For the purposes of this presentation, I have chosen to search the manuscript collections. So here's our main page for our manuscript collections. There are different ways to try to search for materials. You can search for them by research center, by subject, or by county. Now, there's another way is to go to the search box, which is up here in the upper left-hand corner, where you can enter in search items. So let's say I want to do some research on railroads. I could type in railroads into the search box and hit enter for the search results. So here you'll see the results. Since railroads is a broad term, the website provided me with 39,000 results. Now that's a lot, but you can narrow down your search for more specific topic, such as Frisco, and then narrow down your search even further by selecting the manuscripts tab, which is right under the search box here. So when the website retrieves the manuscript collection results, you'll need to look for the collection number preceding the search result. So in this case, the first search result that came up was the Southwest Missouri Railroad Company records. Now, as you'll know, there's an alphanumeric number preceding the title. In this case, it's R0052. The R stands for Rolla, meaning that our Rolla Research Center manages the collection. So when you make a request to view the collection, you'll need to cite the R as well as the numbers that come after it. So if you want to look at the Southwest Missouri Railroad Company records, when you contact us, you'll need to refer to the collection as R0052. That's the quickest way that we can know what you're looking for. We can retrieve it easily. So now when you click on a search result link, it will pull up a finding aid. Now, finding aids are sort of like a table of contents created by archivists to help researchers find materials within collections. Now, sometimes finding aids are very short and sometimes they're very long. It just depends on the size and scope of the collections. So, for example, the Columbia Research Center has the Kit Bond papers. So that is approximately 400 cubic feet or 400 boxes worth of materials documenting Kit Bond's life and career. So as you can imagine, that finding aid is going to be page upon page upon page, just listing all the contents in those boxes. That's one of our more extreme examples of how large a finding aid can be. Now, we are working on updating our finding aids at the moment, so you may see some consistency issues, but that's something that we are addressing right now. Now, once you decide that you want to examine the collection, the next step is to contact us. So you can either email us, or you can use our research request form, which I've highlighted on the slide. So you need to go back to the research tab and click on Research Request, which brings you to this form. You'll need to fill out the form with all the relevant information pertaining to your request. And then let's see here. And then in this box, you'll need to type out a description of the collections that you want to request. So this task can be as simple as writing, I would like to request the following rolls of microfilm, or I would like to request R0052 folders 1 through 15. Or you can even have a broad research request, such as, do you have collections about railroads? The simplest answer to that question would be yes. So then you would click on the location of the research center where you like to view the materials. And then depending on so if you're going to want to view it at the St. Louis Research Center, then that email automatically gets directed to me, and either myself or my coworker Zach will respond to your request and try to get the collection ready for you. So before I go, I just want to mention that that the State Historical Society has a active membership program. It's very important to us. We rely on it, and it has some great benefits. So if you had the chance, I encourage you all to join. But just to note, though, that you don't have to be a member to use our resources. But it does provide some benefits like reduced research fees and a subscription to our journal, the Missouri Historical Review. And we encourage our patrons and members to find us on social media and sign up for our emails. We've also started a podcast called Our Missouri, hosted by our oral historian, Sean Rost. The series explores the people, places, cultural, and history of Missouri with interviews with experts and scholars. And as many of you are aware, we are also approaching our bicentennial in 2021. So keep an eye out for bicentennial events and projects. And that concludes my presentation. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me at my email. If you have any questions, or if you're interested in donating your family papers or anything like that, just please let me know. I am pretty quick to respond to all emails. It's my job to serve you, the public, since your tax dollars do help fund the State Historical Society of Missouri. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me. It's our job to help you. And if you have any questions, I'm free to answer to the best of my ability.
And AJ, thank you. I have muted everybody, so if you have a question, you're going to have to unmute yourself. But thank you for it. You actually answered my question the second to last slide about, is there a charge to use the services? And so you provide all of this as a state, for lack of better words, a state supported, tax supported, member supported. I can't.
Yeah, it's all free to the public. The state funds our salaries, and then the membership fees help us purchase supplies and other programs to like our other outreach programs. But to use the collections, or if you have a research question, that's to use the collections, that's free. Now we do charge for if you have an extensive research question that requires me to go look at a collection. We do charge a fee for that. It's there's for members it's like $10, but if you're a Missourian, it maybe 20, and then for someone out of state, it's 30. But to actually come and use the collections, that's free. But it's just whenever like we have to make copies of like digital copies of manuscripts or photographs, there is a cost associated with that. That just helps us. It helps further support the organization. But to use our collections, that's always going to be free. There's never a charge to actually come and research.
Thank you.
I have a question. Do you have online things that you can dive deep down into a collection and get a specific name or something like that would come up and tell you where it is or give you information, like you can do with the Post-Dispatch?
Yeah, well, basically it's a search tab I showed you. Most of our collections aren't all digitized. Like we do what's called targeted digitization. So some collections you will be able to search our digital webpage, and you can do like a deep dive into a certain topic from what we have digitized. But in terms of having everything, but in terms of something deep like that, we just don't have everything digitized. It's physically impossible at this point to really digitize everything. Okay. Are you referring to the newspapers? I'm sorry,
newspapers.
Okay. Yeah, those have not all been digitized. We have been working with the newspapers.com, and they have digitized some of our newspaper collections and put them online. And so you can go through newspapers.com and find some of those titles, but the majority of our titles on microfilm have not been.
But you'd have to go through newspapers.com, not through your website.
Yeah, but I can if you give me your email, I can send you a link to some of the papers that are digitized. if you like me to. If you want to send me an email,
Okay.
you're free to, and I can give you some links.
I have a question. Who
Yeah.
primarily takes advantage of the services that you offer? Is it educators? Is it just the common public? Who usually-
A little bit of everyone. A little bit of everyone. So I have like students, like high schoolers. I also have I have college students from across the region, genealogists. I sometimes have journalists. Like I had Fox Nation who wanted to use some of the Whitman photographs for one of their documentaries. So I get pretty much a broad swath of the public who comes in. So it's and of course traditional scholars as well. Does anyone else have a question?
Mitch, I'm going to throw it over to you for the last little bit. AJ, thank you very much. I know it was short scramble, but I personally appreciate it.
Hey, anytime.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So how's everybody doing?
We're here.
Good. Very good. I got to sneak away for a few days and went down to Texas for my nephew's wedding. So it's good to get out of town and do something normal. So I had an update on Bill. Did you say anything about what's going on with Ted? You're muted. Okay. I got a call while I was on vacation. Actually, the funeral home got a call from Paulette that Ted has entered hospice. So we're not sure what the timeline is, but just keep him in your prayers that he has a.
What was that? Why you were gone? You got that information?
Yeah, I got it on. It was either Thursday or Friday.
Thursday or Friday? Okay.
Oh, yeah. So as we know, hospice can be short, long. I don't know, but it is the next step. So keep everybody in your prayers there, and hopefully he has a comfortable. And if it's God's will, that it be a quick homegoing for him. It's been a long road. I know he's not a happy person with not being able to go and do and be a part of this. So,
Well, he's touched a lot of people in his life, though.
amen.
Yep.
Lots. Who's up next week, Dave? I haven't.
Mike Nowabilski, who is my boss, so to speak, with the, although Todd arranged it, it wasn't me. Mike is the Zone 31 Rotary Regional Foundation Coordinator. He's done a variety of things. He's gone to Malawi, and done a variety of projects. And I think he's going to be speaking on one of the projects that's touched him personally as far as what we're doing. So
Good.
I don't have any sneak peeks at it. All I know is he'll be with us. And then the following week on the 23rd is, I listed as a holiday party. We can either drop it, we can do an evening, we can do a morning. I got no ideas. I'm running out of gas at this point. So, whatever anybody, we'll put it together.
Yeah, I'm not available that evening. That's the last Advent service as we go into the Christmas season. So if everybody wants to meet virtually that morning, we can.
I'll send an email out to the board and we can kind of kick stuff around a little.
Okay. Sorry, we didn't discuss that last week.
Yeah.
Well,
And I didn't think about it, tell you the truth.
Sure.
I'm just a couple weeks in advance, a couple weeks ahead right now.
All right. So no one was assigned to that week per se, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Okay, we'll get working on that.
Mitch,
Anybody else have anything for the good of the club?
Mitch.
Yeah, go ahead.
Look, I wouldn't recommend this for that week, but a woman from Guatemala called me earlier this week, Monday actually. She is a retired teacher, but she lives there now, and has been working with an after-school program. It may be her program, if I understood it correctly. She has 60 students, and she has of that group, rather, there are about 20 students who have formed a Rotarian club, and they have a service project. Their service project is to support, they have about 20 families who they are trying to support. And she is trying to sort of be a liaison for that particular group to Rotary clubs to other Rotary clubs. And so she would like to make a presentation to our club. She also would like to make an appeal for support. And I'm not sure if this is a club project or if it would be more of a district-like project, but she would like to address our club at our next open program, yeah.
Jack,
Mhm.
any day, any Wednesday in January is open right now.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I probably, but my big question is, do you want to hear from a group that is making an appeal for support, particularly since we have a number of projects already in the works? I think maybe it would be good to listen and determine that, and if it's dependent on the type of project, and it looks like it could be a significant project, we might direct her from our group to maybe the district level or something along those lines. So if that's good, I'll get back with her and nail down a particular Wednesday in January if everyone's okay with that.
Dave, did you have something, Dave?
Well, I think I'm on the schedule for January 6th, and at this point, I got zippity doo-dah, and I don't have any idea what to do for. So you're welcome to fill mine. I hate to punt like that if we want to do it, but that's where I'm at right now.
Okay.
yep, I'd say go ahead and like we've done with others. What I've done is to reach out to them and indicate that and say that while there's no guarantee that of what sport we can do, we're most happy to listen. I think it would be good to hear what others are doing. And it may be something that the district can do rather than, or the zone for that matter, other districts rather than just us.
Okay. Then I will contact her. Dave, it may not be the 6th. I just want to coordinate with her in terms of dates, but as soon as I know, then I'll let Dave Robinette know. And then Dave, I guess you'll post something or
I will.
in the meeting notes. Okay.
And I'm going to update the January calendar, or the next newsletter will have the January all blanks in it so that people will get the idea.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you again, Dave, for keeping everything going and
Dave.
leading on the program, Jack. Anybody else have anything for the good of the club? All right. Everybody have a great week. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Y'all
Right.
take care. AJ, thanks again.
Thank you, AJ. I think he's gone.
Anytime.